Somewhere beyond the recesses of time and space, two podcasters are set adrift in a machine, picking up transmissions of movies that are forgotten but not gone.
Welcome to Movie Memory Machine 5-4, the mini-series where we are picking 5 films thematically related to the film we're talking about on the main feed. This week, we're talking 5 films for Lightning Jack from 1994. I am Landon Solano, joined always by my co-host, Truman Caps. Truman, it's good to see you.
Good day, mate. It's great to be seen. And I didn't even do an Australian accent, even though Lightning Jack is written by Paul Hogan and stars Paul Hogan.
We have 5 films lined up for you today. These aren't necessarily recommendations, but they are thematically related to Lightning Jack, and so I thought it would expand discussion about the film. Truman, do you want to get started with our first film?
Yes, I do, because if there was ever a movie that needs to have an expansive discussion, it's the movie Lightning Jack with Paul Hogan.
All right, our first film, which came up on the main episode briefly, is
Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man, a movie that I still don't fully believe exists. Why don't you tell me some more about it?
That's very fair. That's very, very fair. Also directed by Simon Windsor, who directed Lightning Jack, although, do we think Paul Hogan maybe shadow directed?
I mean, I think he definitely shadow-edited Lightning Jack. And
okay, fair.
And from what I've heard on subsequent podcasts since last we talked about Paul Hogan, it seems like he's shadow-written a lot of projects and tried to steal credit in that as well. So he really is a Renaissance man.
Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man, where to even start with it? It is, like, forget Shane Black, who I have some problems with. You want the perfect buddy film. Buddy, I wouldn't even say buddy cop film, but just like buddy adventure film.
Yeah.
It's this. And for a movie to be so much fun when you have egos of Mickey Rourke and Don Johnson in the leads.
Yeah.
And also with Tom Sizemore on the cast and Daniel Baldwin in the cast. The fact that this is not a cringe-worthy experience is, a miracle unto itself.
Yeah, I would love to watch a reality show about the making of this movie, because I'm sure there were a lot of antics. So how do you feel that this ties in with Lightning Jack, just in that it's a comedy about dudes having an adventure together?
Yeah, I think, I think that Lightning Jack wants to be kind of a hangout movie, right? I mean, there are somewhat plans at times where they're trying to do a heist.
Yeah.
But ultimately it's like a buddy hangout film, and this movie just nails that. And to me shows that you have star writer Paul Hogan at the helm of Lightning Jack, and both films are directed by the same guy, that maybe the fault doesn't fall on the director in this particular case of Lightning Jack not working.
Paul Hogan is a uniquely corrupting influence, sort of like the One Ring. I think that also a reason that this movie presumably works better as a hangout buddy film than Lightning Jack is that in Lightning Jack, one of the buddies never speaks because Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character is fully mute. So it's really just basically a podcast. You're just listening to Paul Hogan free associating about stuff for an hour and a half.
We didn't do our avant-garde episode where one of us just mimes the entire time.
Well, you know what? It's never too late to start, much as Paul Hogan found out when he became a world-famous celebrity at the age of 47.
I highly recommend people see this one. It's just so much fun. Even though it comes out in 1991, to me this feels like the last great 80s film.
Great. I mean, look, I think there's a little bit of grace period to get the last ones under the wire. It may have been written in the 80s, so it still counts.
Yeah. It's got all the earmarks that you want from an 80s action film. There's a corrupt corporate entity that's trying to suck society dry, and you've got these two renegades that are trying to take shit down. It's a lawless kind of future. Like it takes place 1997, I think, or like like the near future, which is far past, from 2025. So that makes it kind of an interesting prism to look at it through.
I love looking at things through interesting prisms, and this one seems like one of the more interesting ones I've seen yet.
So check out Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man. Let's move on to the second film, shall we?
Yeah, let's go. Shanghai Noon. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. This is a movie that I definitely saw in theaters with my parents as a kid.
Okay. I definitely saw this in theaters as well, probably by myself, but...
Your parents were like, we want none of this nonsense. Kung Fu in the Old West, never.
They're like, we went through the Jim Carrey phase. We're not here for the Jackie Chan. You can drive now. Go do it yourself.
Yeah. Get a black belt for all we care. It doesn't matter anymore.
This is a film I haven't seen in so long. I'm curious how it holds up. What do you think?
Oh, look, this is the problem. I remember enjoying this movie when I watched it, and then I remember watching the sequel, Shanghai Nights, also with my parents, video on demand in a hotel room after a long flight. And maybe I was just in a grumpy mood, or maybe it's because I was like 12 or whatever. I was so mad at Shanghai Nights for its many, many historical inaccuracies, which, again...
the dumbest reason to be mad at it.
Yeah, more evidence for the case that I am the most boring person to ever have lived. So, I try not to let the opinion of a sequel cloud the opinion of the original, but it's been so long for me. I just remember it being fun, and that is something that I never felt with Lightning Jack. So, still probably a much better movie for a Western buddy comedy.
I think the reality of Shanghai Noon probably falls somewhere between the quality of Lightning Jack and my memory of what Shanghai Noon actually is.
Yeah.
Having really, really gone deep on Jackie Chan since, first being introduced to him during this period of time, the thing that makes me most nervous to go back to it is I think it suffers from the Hollywood system of overshooting the fight scenes, where a lot of Jackie Chan's Hong Kong stuff is just like, keep it wide and let him do his thing. And I seem to remember like a barroom brawl where, we get a shot from overhead where Jackie Chan reaches up to grab the antlers off the wall, and then, we cut to another shot where he's flipping the antlers around and stuff, and like you're never given the editing doesn't allow for his prowess to really go for very long because it's always cutting to another shot. I feel like I'd find that kind of obnoxious now.
Yeah. I mean, I think a point in the movie's favor, though, say what you will about how the fights are filmed, like, Owen Wilson and Jackie Chan are just... both of them individually have so much more charisma and are so much better on camera than Paul Hogan is, certainly in Lightning Jack. Because both of them are capable of inhabiting a character that is other than just, I am the coolest, most knowledgeable guy in the world. Everyone bow before me.
Now listen, at the risk of... Also, we didn't mention Lucy Liu's in this film, and I have a forever crush on her. But
normal thing to have.
At the risk of the kind of problematic nature of what I'm about to say. Truman's face. If this had the dynamic of one person talks and one person doesn't, and like Jackie Chan was mute in this film, at least Jackie Chan has like a physical presence in which to compensate for it.
Yes.
Whereas like, what the fuck is Cuba Gooding Jr. bringing to a mute role? I mean, again, that's not on him as an actor, but like, it's not written to have any contributions.
Jackie Chan as a physical comedian is incredibly gifted. He could pull this off with no words. And also, Owen Wilson, as the only person talking in the movie, is much funnier. He is much more able to carry a movie being the only one talking because his whole vibe and nature is just a lot more fun to watch and can carry a movie a lot better than Paul Hogan's, because Owen Wilson has room for self-doubt. He has room for making a fool of himself, trying to talk his way out of a problem, whereas Paul Hogan is so dead set on always being cool as a cucumber and above it all, it's not really interesting on camera.
Absolutely. Well, let's move on to the next film that we have lined up here.
Let's go. Oh, Midnight Run. Midnight Run. Love this movie. It rules. Midnight Run is I didn't see it until recently, and when I did, I just realized, oh wow, this movie is a lot more formulaic than I expected. It's just like, okay, here's a pretext for two men to have to deal with each other while crossing the country together, and just also made me realize how whatever thoughts I have about that being played out are just because I've seen the mediocre version of this a million times and never the incredible version of this that is Midnight Run.
Yeah, what I think the thing is with these buddy comedies is that it all comes down to the dynamic of your two main guys, right? Mm-hmm. Or two main characters. I don't want to make it gender specific, but the like you could have like the uninteresting version of this is a movie called Flashback with Dennis Hopper and Kiefer Sutherland, another pair of egos I do not want to be in the presence of. But
stay far away.
That one plays it so just right down the middle that like if their performances are down the middle and it's a formulaic thing, it's just gonna be the most forgettable shit in the world. The fact that you have a deadpan comedian with a real kind of like, I don't even know how you would describe Robert De Niro in this.
Robert De Niro in 1988. Like, what's his deal at this point?
But like you don't really know him from comedies, and so he's playing. It's a weird twist on the who is the straight man here, because Charles Grodin is the driest comedian there's ever been.
He's so fucking good.
But he's going up against Robert De Niro's straight man. It's just a weird dynamic that highlights and emphasizes the talents of both of them.
Robert De Niro is this no-nonsense bounty hunter who has to get Charles Grodin, a crooked accountant for the mob, across the country to a court date. And it's interesting because Charles Grodin is doing nonsense that is constantly making Robert De Niro furious, but he's doing the nonsense in this very, very dry way.
Yeah.
And it's... So they at the outset, it doesn't necessarily seem like these two are a mismatched odd couple, but then it really comes through in their interactions with each other just how explosive this duo can be. And there's a lot of fun surprises that come from that.
Yeah, like, could you imagine this made, 7 years later, 8 years later, and it's starring Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones?
I'm exhausted just thinking about that. It kind of just doesn't work. But also, I'm always just inclined to be really up on anything with Charles Grodin in it. I mean, that man is the secret sauce for any movie being great.
Well, then this isn't part of the 5-4. I highly recommend you go look at Real Life by Albert Brooks, because, oh man, that's a good one.
Okay, also not part of the 5-4, but go watch Clifford, because that also has Charles Grodin in it.
Okay, moving on to our next one.
Yes. Oh, Maverick, the Western card sharp comedy with Mel Gibson, and the less we say about him, the better.
Yes.
I watched this with my parents on VHS in Bend, Oregon, sometime in the late 90s. I don't know why I have so many detailed memories, but my biggest memory as a child and watching this movie that is mainly about kind of like PG-13 sex comedy and also card playing was just being like, can we get a gunfight, please? 'Cause I thought cowboys shot each other. What? Please give me something.
How is that aged for you?
I haven't watched Maverick since, so I mainly remember because I was so bored by it when I was a kid. Tell me about Maverick. Why do you love Maverick?
Well, I didn't say I loved Maverick. I'm just putting it on here thematically.
Why do you wholeheartedly endorse every film with Mel Gibson in it?
I will admit, this film is too long. It's, I think, 2 hours on the nose or just, like, slightly over. And, like, as a kid, that's too long.
Yeah.
I saw this in the theater with my parents when it came out in 1994.
Landon, wake up! We're taking you out of school for the day. Maverick just came out. We have to show you. You have to learn about poker.
I remember really, really enjoying it at the time when it first came out, and this was also something that played a lot on HBO. So I've seen this movie a lot of times. Now, there was a very long period of time from like the late 90s until, I don't know, 2015 where I hadn't seen it, and probably 20-ish years. And when I went to put it back on, I'm like, oh boy, I don't know if this one's going to hold up, folks. And I put it on again, and it's like, the fact that it's directed by Richard Donner, who, Lethal Weapon, knows buddy comedies, it knows character dynamics, it knows how to hang a film on a plot in a way that keeps the pacing and changing things. And like, this is a film where, you don't know who has the upper hand at any given point, and it turns really well on all of those things. A thing that isn't even existent, I don't think, in Lightning Jack.
No. That movie doesn't turn. That movie sits dead still.
And it still can't be hit by a gun that one of them is holding. I forgot what happened in Lightning Jack.
Yes, this is a self-defense mechanism. What's our final film?
Anyway, Maverick, I would highly recommend people checking out if you're just looking for something to do on a Friday night. Our last film, of course, is...
Three Amigos. Here is a wonderful thing about Three Amigos. Rewatching this recently, my girlfriend had not seen it, so we sat down to watch it together. And going in, I was kind of thinking, I haven't seen this movie about three white men going to Mexico made in the 1980s in some time. Hoo boy, what am I going to get into? It's great. It's like at every turn, this movie could have engaged in so much crass racist humor, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
These guys are buffoons, and the Mexicans are just trying to live their lives and have to entertain these idiots the whole time. And it's a hilarious movie.
All of that is shocking, too, considering it's directed by John Landis.
Yeah, John Landis.
And I also had a similar experience where my partner hadn't seen Three Amigos, and we put it on. I think between all of our podcasts that we've done, it's well documented, my relationship with this film.
This film truly is your little buttercup.
I could recite this film from start to finish. Have I performed My Little Buttercup on my fireplace when I was in high school instead of having friends? Maybe.
He'll never tell.
Maybe. I won't tell.
I also appreciate all of the ways that this movie could never be made today, separate from everything else. Just imagine trying to sell a studio head today on like, hey, it's an original concept, it's a comedy set in the early 1900s in Hollywood about three disgraced actors who go to Mexico. Like, no one is going to be like, oh, well, the focus groups don't really like, 1910 silent film era gags, so we can't do that. Like, this movie identifies a wacky concept, commits to it fully, and tells a really funny, enjoyable adventure that both has heart and character development in it and is also completely irreverent the whole time.
This is one of those films that just has some sort of magic to it, and it comes from the interplay between them all. This is the thematic connection to Lightning Jack is just, this is how you do buddy comedies. This just happens to be a buddy comedy with three people, and guess what? There's three times as much as, well, I don't know, 3 times 0 is 0, so I don't know that comparison holds water, but I don't know. This is one of my all-time favorite comedies, and if you're looking for a Western comedy, watch Three Amigos. Watch it 3 times before you watch Lightning Jack.
Once per amigo, and then maybe don't even watch Lightning Jack afterwards. Also, another thematic connection, it has Martin Short, who's also in Clifford.
Okay, you're thematically connecting a film that isn't even in the 5/4s. But
if you're looking at Martin Short in this movie and thinking, wow, he looks so young, almost like a little boy, I thought of another movie in which Martin Short looks like a little boy.
All right, let's get out of here. That has been 5/4 for Lightning Jack. Until next time, for Truman Caps, I've been Landon Solano.
And for Landon Solano, I've been Truman Caps. Yeehaw!
Movie Memory Machine is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. Join our Patreon at patreon.com/gruntworkpod to keep the machine running. Theme song by Porky's Groove Machine. Rate us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. For more information on today's show, visit MovieMemoryMachine.com.